Raisin the Roof, presented by the Central Indiana Realtors Association, a local chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Our mission is to build wealth through home ownership by enhancing economic development. We accomplish this goal by informing, advocating, and educating in the communities we serve. And now, Raisin the Roof.
That's what happens in a community when there's a mass of denials in that community. People stop trying because they don't want to feel that way, so they go buy a Lexus or a Cadillac or something to make them feel like they're successful, since they don't have access to what it is they really want. Trust me, we really want to be homeowners. We really would rather have a house than a car, but I really want to show, based on my hard work, that I've had some sort of success. In Indiana, let's bring it closer to home. Your Indiana population, 6,691,878, white 79.2%, black 9.7%, Hispanic 7%, and Asian 2.4%. Here's your Indiana mortgages: 158,693, white 130,917, black 6,482, Hispanic 5,973, Asian 3,188. So blacks are 9.7% of the population, but only receive 4% of the new mortgages. The denial rate for white borrowers in Indiana is 15%, and the denial rate for blacks is 25.77%. That's in Indiana. This is Indianapolis. This is even closer to home, right? Y'all with me? Y'all all right? 867,125 total population. That's the balance. That's Indiana's balance. Marion County, Indianapolis, the city. White 55.9%, black 28.1%, Hispanic 10%, Asian 3%. Black total mortgages 19,847. White mortgages 13,537. Black 2,475. Hispanic 957, Asian 920. Now, we're 28% of the population, 28.1% of the population, but we only got 12.5% of the new mortgages. Okay, our denial rate is 26.14% compared to white denial rate of 14%. All right, 28% of the population, 12% of the new mortgages. Here's my other problem is we only got 5% of the new applications. The problem with us in this arena today is we're not trying. We don't want to be turned down. We don't have capacity, or for whatever reason, we can't increase our approvals, our originations, until we increase our applications. So we got to increase the appetite and the belief that you can buy again. Public policy and tradition have served to facilitate maintenance of status quo. That's just the reality of it. Black home ownership in this country, in 1968, it was 42.1%. In 2019, today, first quarter, U.S. Census, first quarter this year, 41.1%. It went down from last year. In a recovery, in a nation that's having a housing recovery, black home ownership continues to decline. Why is that? Not only that, for all the years prior to 1968, it was legal to discriminate. We had government-sponsored discrimination. And we had a higher home ownership percentage than we do today, 51 years after it's been illegal to discriminate. Why is that? Public policy. Financial services policies. How many lenders in the room? I'm a lender. How many lenders in the room? Okay, let me talk to you. First things first is, I haven't had a loan decline in years because I don't write it till I know I can do it. I pre-qualify the person. I get them ready. I take my time with them. That's the first thing, is why is our denial rate so high? And I think it's because of the lack of people who look like me that are sitting at the table writing the application and taking the time with the people. We need to increase the number of diversity of loan originators. Now, financial service policies, risk-based pricing. You guys heard of that? Risk-based pricing. So today we have something called loan level price adjustments, right? LLPAs. I call them the poor pay more fee adjustment. That's what I call it. In other words, if you have less money to put down, if you have a higher LTV, there's a higher adjustment to your cost, which is then reflected in interest rate. If you have a lower FICO score, you meet the threshold of 620 to get a Fannie Mae Freddie Mac loan, but you have a lower FICO score, so you have a higher adjustment, an extremely high adjustment to get in. Okay? So you're buying 2 units. There's a higher adjustment to get in. Black people have lower FICO scores in this country than white people do. Why? Because black people are paid 60 cents for every dollar than white people are. So when it comes down to our car breaking down or something else breaking down, and we have to make a decision as to what to pay, we pay to get to work. And we take that 30-day late, which is then reflected in a lower FICO score. It's not because we don't want to pay, it's not having the capacity to pay.
Hello, my name is Delores Kennedy, broker-owner of B&K Real Estate Services. I have over 25 years of experience. My mission is to make buying or selling your home an experience, not a headache. Call me at 317-710-3107.
Now, prior to 2008, there was no risk-based pricing. If you got in, if you met the threshold, if you were approved, then everybody had the access to the same pricing. Now, we understand that we had a crisis in this country, and Fannie and Freddie got in trouble, had to borrow $187 billion. Well, they paid that back. And it's also contributed another $163 billion to the federal government in sweeps, in profit sweeps. They've been paid it back and made a profit. I would say it's time to go back to the time that it used to be, when we go back to the same pricing for everybody who meets the threshold. Right? So what's the problem? Why won't they do it? Because now we've been told that risk is too risky, and the government shouldn't be in that risk position. You taxpayers shouldn't have to foot the bill, but that's what we were created for in the first place. Fannie Mae was created, I think, in 1938. White home ownership in the country was at 50%, just below, and it was a national catastrophe, so they created a new federal institution called Fannie Mae to improve and provide liquidity to be able to provide housing opportunity. Black home ownership has never been above 50% in the history of this country. The highest it's ever been is 49.6%. That was in 2004. Outdated credit models. We're still using Fannie Freddie, FHA, VA, FICO 04. FICO 04. FICO 04 I think they're at FICO 09. I think they're at FICO 9 now. Okay, and then there's some other credit score models like Vantage scoring that will take advantage of things that you pay, like your rent, to allow you, since we have an automated underwriting system. In other words, our underwriting is done by computers, artificial intelligence, based on algorithms that are written. Then you have to have a score in order for that computer to read your credit, to give you an outcome. It used to be that we looked at the credit, measured, how many lates you had, and got you approved that way. But now that it's automated, and the automation eliminates the risk for the lenders, and it reduces the reps and warranties, so then we have to get into a score. When you don't have a score, they'll still do the loan, but guess what? They charge you for manual underwriting. And your ability to buy goes down because you're subject to QM criteria. I don't want to get too technical. We need them to bring forth new credit models. That the FICO 04 is more restrictive, gives you a lower score based on the criteria than the new FICO models. New FICO doesn't look at nuisance collections and medical debt. FICO 04 is still restricted because we have this public-private partnership. The taxpayers are going to provide the guarantee, and private Wall Street is going to provide the money. Wall Street is fee incentive. So as we go down this public-private partnership conversation, we need to wake up. Realtors, we're the watchmen for our community. We need to pay attention to what our capacity is and be able to do it in a way that we can afford it. Bad appraisal policies. I don't know how it works here. I know how appraisals work here. They work the same all over. We have the homeowner valuation code of conduct. But we don't have any old appraisers in LA anymore. All our appraisers are young people that come from outside of our neighborhood that are generally scared when they get to our neighborhood. So, no, seriously. And they don't, it doesn't have no value. I don't want to live here, so why would I value it? And so we see that in our appraisals. Even in Los Angeles, where, a wreck costs you $400,000. A wreck costs you $400,000. But trust me, we have a problem with bad appraisals. And I have a deal right now. The appraisal came in low. And so, based on the appraisal coming in low, it changed all the pricing criteria. Laws that create barriers. Now, I'm not a Dodd-Frank proponent. I'm not. I know Dodd-Frank was purported to be the greatest thing in the world, but I found out I have to be an advocate for risk. If the people that I represent have lower FICO scores and less money, guess what? I need to be an advocate for them to get in, not to get put out. I need laws that build bridges instead of build barriers.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Russell, your team with Hustle with United Real Estate. We've been serving Indianapolis area for over 37 years. We help our clients build generational wealth through home ownership. When you need a home or you need to sell a home, please call us at 317-872-SELF.
Yeah, that ain't a bad place to cry. Public pressure moves public policy. If we don't say nothing, guess what? It's just going to happen to us. I am sick and tired of fighting from things that are about things that are already done. I'd like to be fighting to put things in place when they're in construction. It's so much easier to help construct than it is to try to tear down and rebuild. We got to put public pressure in the right place. I can't leave here without talking about our current status. I'm talking about what has been done to us, but truly we have to do some housekeeping. Those of you in the room who look like me, we have to look at each other too. Okay, we got to pay attention to where we are today as a group. Household by race, nationwide, Asians are our top performing income earners in this country at $81,431. White second at $65,000. Hispanics at $47,000. Blacks at $39,000. In Indianapolis, Asians make $64,400. Whites $61,000. Hispanics $35,600, and blacks $32,000. Household, not per capita. Household. This is what we're trying to change. For every dollar white people have, black people, we have 5.5 cents. You laughing? That's why it looks different. That's why the vacations look different. That's why the houses look different. That's why our ability to send our kids to certain schools look different. It has to do with wealth more than income. Income builds wealth, but it has to do with wealth. Now in Los Angeles, this number is 1 cent for every dollar. Study just done by the Pew Research Center. 5.5 cents. 54% of our children, and I think it's higher, live in a one-person household, single-parent household. I'm talking about us. 71% of our children are born to unwed mothers. 71% of our children are born. Guess what? It's time to start marrying our women. You laughing? I'm also serious. You know why? Let me tell you why. for Indianapolis, it's the same nationwide. Asians are married at 67%, whites are married at 58%, Hispanics are married at 48%. We're married at 32%. 32% of us are married. It's hard to succeed in a society that has its foot on you when you don't do it as a unit. You know, and once again, this is a clarion call to the men to be the leaders God intended you to be. And to the women, to be the women that God intended you to be. Even our life expectancy is different. White women live 8 years longer than white men, and black men live 8 years less than white men. Why? Income, economics, access to health care, miseducation. We have the lowest income, the lowest net wealth, the lowest home ownership percentage, the highest divorce rate, the highest abortion rate. Did you know that our abortion rate is 38%? It's the #1 killer of black people in America. It's not on the side. It's the #1 killer of black people in America. Highest homicide rate, highest disease rate, highest incarceration rate, highest percentage of income spent on consumer goods. We're at the top of every bad statistic and the bottom of every good statistic. And the reason I say that, you know, this is a nice place, and I drove a long way to get from where I'm staying in downtown Indianapolis. But we gotta go reach back into our communities, because while that may not apply to me and it may not apply to you, it applies to us. And the truth is, until we take care of us, our quality of life as a group cannot get better. Intention. This is not by accident. This is intention. It's time for us to take ownership of our own situation. It's time for us to take ownership of who we are and whose we are. It's time for us to understand it's time for us to quit being ashamed. It's time for us to go, that's them and not me. It's time for us to quit putting each other down. It's time for us to hold each other up, to say something good about each other. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's all wrong. Anybody know what this is? 1619 was the day that the White Lion, a slave ship, delivered 20 slaves to America. 2019 is 400 years later. This August will be 400 years. If I recall, the Israelites spent 400 years in Egypt, and they got free. They wandered around in the desert for 40 years before all those who didn't believe had to go. All those who were rebellious had to go, and then they walked into Canaan. All I'm saying is, let's not let it be another 40 years. You know, let's start believing in who we are. Let's be who we are. I'm unapologetically black and unashamedly Christian, and I'm gonna be that. As I get out the way, Martin Luther King left us this, and I always like to say it: if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever we do, no matter how tough it looks, no matter how dark it gets, we have to keep moving forward. We got to keep moving forward. Now, I don't know how you fight. However you fight, find your fight. Be the best person you can be. This is how I fight right here. Thank you.
church at the same time. Amen. Can I get an amen? Thank you so much, Mark Austin. My goodness, that was so enlightening. Clarity call for all. I mean, that was. Can we give him another round of applause? Thank you so much. I always get educated.
Good morning, Lee.
Good morning.
Congratulations for receiving the Trailblazer Award for Zero.
Thank you so much.
Let's take a minute and talk about who Lee Riley Evans really is.
Okay.
So if you would, share with us your current responsibilities at your current job.
Okay, currently I serve as the Executive Director for Mapleton Fall Creek Development Corporation, which is an independent nonprofit organization that serves 6 neighborhoods in the mid-north area of Indianapolis. And so our role is connecting neighborhood partners so that we can invest, help, and serve those residents and those businesses to preserve affordable housing and just to impact a quality of life that is better for all of them to live life according to their visions and the assets that they provide to the community.
Your bio also describes you as a change agent. So what does that mean and how is that meaningful to you?
It means not always being stopped by the problem. And so I focus on the resolution of a conflict, not just the problem. And so for me, it's figuring out who else I need to talk with and help convene the conversations around what collaborations we need to focus on and to manage the change, whatever that change is. If it's a matter of encouraging people to collect rainwater, or if it's a pattern of encouraging people to plant a tree, or helping people understand that just because you are of less wealth or you have less income doesn't mean that you don't want the same things as someone that has a lot more income. We should all have access to quality, affordable housing. We should all have access to good food. We should all be able to walk safely down our streets. And so I want to help be an agent of the change that encourages us to have a quality of life that's shared. We all want what I call the H's. We want hot water, health, and housing. Okay. And so I want others to express their interest in making that possible for everyone, regardless of their income, regardless of their zip code. We should have access to an equitable life.
Well said, well said. So I also read in your bio that you were recognized by CHEP with a Trailblazer Award. So tell us about that initiative and what that means.
So that was an initiative from IUPUI, and so it's Community Health Engagement Partnership Award. And so our organization worked with the Department of Anthropology at IUPUI to just highlight how we could change quality of life in the Mid-North neighborhood, paying attention to the fact that your access to food, your access to public space, your access to parks could determine how long you were living in a certain zip code. And so, and what you could do in terms of your diabetes or your obesity and just your quality of health. And so they recognized our partnership several years ago when we started to talk about the disparity in how long people lived depending on the zip codes that you lived, and highlighting that if you lived in the mid-north area, you were living probably 10 or 12 years of a shorter life than if you lived in the northern part or the southern part of the county. I think it's more important to be collaborative than to compete.
All right.
And so we can get a lot more done if we work together. And so I want to bring people together. I like making connections and trying to figure out what gifts you have that can support the needs of another.
Placekeeper.
That is celebrating where we are, not always trying to make it different, not always trying to fix it. We often hear about placemaking.
Yes.
And so I want to encourage people to celebrate the history and to enhance that. So it's keeping the place. And so it's recognizing the assets of the people and the places and not just trying to have it be something different.
Okay, and last but not least, community partner.
It kind of relates to the other two.
Yeah, it does.
And just highlighting how we can work together.
I looked up a definition of trailblazer. The trait that you picked was Only say yes to what you intend to do. Your intentions determine your results.
Well, I think there is so much that you could do. I mean, what is it that sets your hair on fire? And so that's going to cause you to action. And so instead of being pulled in many different directions and not being able to provide a quality result, I try to be very intentional about how I spend my time. It doesn't mean that I don't do several things, but I want to make sure whatever I do, I am able to do it well and with intention so that I can be dependent upon to get it done in the future and work toward actually implementing a change for whomever it is that I'm working with. And so I encourage people just to make sure that they're clear about what direction that they want to take and not be afraid to say no. It is a complete sentence. And so saying yes to what you know and feel good about and gives you pleasure in order to make a difference is why that spoke to me about being a trailblazer. There are multiple ways that we can make a difference in this world or what trail to go down, but just being clear that you can make a difference and you can make a very impactful difference in a very small or sometimes in a very large way if you're clear about how you spend your time and what you say yes to. Well, understand that you don't have to do it all and that whatever you choose to do it well.
Lee, with that, congratulations again.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I get excited when we start talking. I get excited when we talk about Realtors Week is a week. Now, Sarah, NARAB, we are an organization of giving back.
Right.
Building wealth and generational wealth. But this week, it's a week of giving back. We have a day that we're going to have a legislative day that we will have legislators come in and we will have a town hall. Then, talking about telling them what we need from them, and they're telling us what it is that NARAB or Sarah can do for them to help them to do their job correctly, do their job. Then we have a day of service where we will go into the community. We have a project and we'll be there all day. We may be painting, we may be pulling weeds, we may be scraping, we may be doing any kind of thing, all kinds of stuff. And then we'll have a membership day. We even have a day of worship where all of us will get together and go to one service at one of the members' church, and then all of us will be there and worship with them. And then the community day is our big day. we will have education, we will have fun, we will have food, we will have all kinds of things for you to come in and do. We'll have vendors there, and so that you can come in and you can get any information that you need to have on home ownership. Community day, you can bring the whole family.
Raisin the Roof, presented by the Central Indiana Realtors Association. Fridays at 11:30 a.m. only on WHMB TV 40.